All right, today we're going to deconstruct a problem that, let's be honest, every homeowner absolutely dreads: a broken HVAC system. Our goal here is to cut right through all that confusion and give you the tools, the knowledge you need to really take control when this happens.
Okay, picture this. It's 95 degrees out, and suddenly, nothing. That deafening silence when the AC just dies. You know what I'm talking about, right? That slow, creeping heat starts to build, and it's just pure panic. But what do you do in those first few critical hours? That can make all the difference.
So what do? You grab your phone, you search online, and bam, you're hit with this wall of technical jargon. Compressor failures, refrigerant leaks, blower motors. I mean, it's a whole other language, right? It feels like it's designed for technicians, not for you when you're sweating and stressed out. So how in the world do you make sense of it all?
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to use one company's website as our guide. Now, this isn't about selling their service at all. The idea is to use their language, to deconstruct what they're saying so we can learn how the industry works. It's all about empowering you, the homeowner, to ask the right questions.
All right, let's dive into our first section: when your comfort breaks. We're going to focus on what happens in those critical first 24 hours.
You see this phrase everywhere, right? 24/7 emergency service. So what does that actually mean? Well, according to our source, it should mean a technician gets sent out within hours, not days. It's about turning what feels like a total crisis into, well, just a manageable problem.
Okay, moving on. Let's talk about your home's hidden stressors. Because here's the thing, a system failure almost never just happens out of the blue. There's usually a reason. So let's look at why these things fail in the first place.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. It's not just about the machine itself, it's about where you live. Our source uses a place like Norristown, Pennsylvania as a perfect example. Think about it. You've got summer humidity over 70%, forcing that AC to work way harder. You have brutal winters where temperatures dip into the teens, leading to these freeze-thaw cycles that can cause leaks. And what about the houses themselves? A lot of older homes, say from the 20s to the 60s, have ductwork that was just never meant for modern central air. It all adds up.
And this brings us to a really important point. Your HVAC system isn't failing because you did something wrong. It's not your fault. It's literally in a constant battle with its environment. The local weather, the age of your house, all of it. And once you get that, it completely changes your mindset. You stop blaming yourself and start focusing on the solution.
So that brings us to the big decision: repair, replace, or maintain. These are really the three core choices you're facing. All right, when you're in that emergency moment, you're really looking at two main options: repair or replace. A repair is all about immediate relief, right? Getting the AC back on now. It's usually faster, costs less upfront, and it's a great choice for a newer system that just has one broken part. But replacement? That's the long-term play. Yeah, it's a bigger investment, but if your system is over 15 years old, it probably makes more financial sense than just patching up something that's going to fail again soon.
But wait, there is a third option. And this is the one that can help you avoid this whole mess in the first place: preventative maintenance. I mean, the source material is super clear on this. Simple things like seasonal tune-ups, cleaning the coils, checking refrigerant levels, testing connections, that stuff can catch a small problem before it becomes a total catastrophe. We're talking about adding years to the life of your equipment.
Okay, next up, decoding the pros process. So, you've made the call, a technician is on the way. What should you expect to happen next? What does a good service call actually look like?
It really should be a simple three-step process. First, emergency dispatch. They should give you a clear arrival window, like 2 hours, and call you before they show up. No more waiting around all day wondering. Second, diagnosis and approval. This is key. The technician should explain the problem in plain English and give you a firm final price before they pick up a single tool. No surprises. And third, repair and testing. They do the fix, and then they test the system right there with you to prove it's working properly.
Now, as they're explaining things, you're going to hear some technical terms. Let's decode a couple of the most important ones. If they mention anything about refrigerants, like R22 or R410A, you need to ask if they have their EPA-608 universal certification. And listen, this isn't just a nice to have. It's a federal requirement. It means they are legally and safely trained to handle those chemicals. It's about protecting you, your family, and the environment.
And here's another one. Especially if you're talking about a full replacement, listen for the term Manual J. This is so important. A real pro doesn't guess what size system your house needs. They do a Manual J calculation.
It's a proper industry standard that looks at your square footage, your insulation, your windows, all of it to figure out the exact right size. Because a system that's too big or too small, it's just going to waste a ton of energy and break down way faster.
All right, this brings us to our final section. And honestly, this might be the most powerful tool you'll have when you're facing that big repair or replace decision. It's called the $5,000 rule.
And the beauty of it is its simplicity. Here's how it works. You take the estimated cost of the repair and you multiply it by the age of your unit in years. If that final number is more than $5,000, then replacement is almost always the smarter financial move.
Let's run through a quick example so it really clicks. Okay, let's say your system is 15 years old and the technician tells you it's a $400 repair. So you take $400, you multiply it by 15 years, and what do you get? $6,000. Since $6,000 is more than $5,000, the verdict is clear. Replace it. It just doesn't make sense to throw good money after bad on a system that's already on its last legs.
And that rule makes perfect sense when you look at this number. In a tough climate like the one we talked about earlier, the typical lifespan of an HVAC system is only about 12 to 15 years. So that 15-year-old unit from our example, it's not just getting old. It's basically already past its expiration date.
So at the end of the day, what's the big takeaway here? Look, a system failure is always going to be stressful, but it doesn't have to be confusing. By understanding the why behind the failure, knowing what a good pro should be doing, and having a simple tool like the $5,000 rule in your back pocket, you completely change the dynamic. You go from a position of panic to a position of power. Your home systems are always talking. The real question is, are you listening?